Hello, everyone. I wanted to make a brief reflection today because we all have an individual mind stream, and we are also engaging that individual mind stream in the collective. And the collective mind stream right now is, especially on Facebook and social media, is full of fear and panic. There's a lot of talk about the COVID pandemic, and there's a lot of talk around political issues. And I don't want to downplay the importance of engaging politically, and I don't want to downplay the urgency of the coronavirus pandemic. But there is another aspect, which is our self-care, our self-integrity. That is, we're all living with a semi-broken heart as we engage with these political issues, as we engage with the coronavirus pandemic. Our own mind stream gets caught up in these circles of fear and anger. And so how can we maintain an engaged heart in the COVID pandemic? How can we maintain an engaged mind and still have integrity, self-integrity, and peace at home, which is our bodies? Because everything that surrounds us is chaotic right now. And so Buddhism has several teachings and tools that are quite relevant and useful for our times. One of these is called the 4 Foundations of Mindfulness. And these foundations are very simple. One of them is to stay in the body. And so as we are engaging, scrolling endlessly to something to occupy the mind, we're scrolling, and all we're feeding our mind with is the same kinds of fear. And we might tell ourselves that this is something with which we can find peace, but really we're only feeding this collective fear, this collective panic. And so we're trying to soften. And the first foundation with which we can soften is this mindfulness of the body. Is just staying in our body and being as we meditate or as we sit every day, being mindful of how our body feels. The second foundation is the mindfulness of feeling. And so very, very seldom do people question, how am I feeling as I engage with what I'm engaging? And we might feel horrible. That might be the reason we try to avoid this foundation of feeling. And so we have this foundation of body, foundation of feeling, that as we engage in social media, might start to feel worse and worse and worse and worse. We have this foundation of thought, which is the third foundation. And finally, we have the fourth foundation, which is impermanence. We notice how things are changing. Normally, this might be a source of fear, is to notice how everything is changing very quickly. But if we take our minds off of social media for a second, we take our minds off of the fear that is generated, or we hold it, we also see how everything around is changing. And we might find space in that observation. So I just wanted to share these 4 foundations of mindfulness so that people may perhaps bring it into their daily practice, bring it into their daily sit, so that you might sit with your body, sit with your feelings, sit with your thoughts, and sit with this impermanence, this contemplation of how thoughts are always changing, and you are not your thoughts. We are not our thoughts. So a lot of what we're engaging with, rather than engaging with the actual political situation, rather than engaging with the actual pandemic, we're engaging with thoughts. and ideas. We're not actually engaging politically, we're just engaging with thoughts about politics. And rather than engaging with the pandemic, we're engaging with thoughts about the pandemic, or feelings. And there's no refuge in these feelings. There's no refuge in these thoughts that are circulating. Another thing that we might find on social media is fake. It's all fake. It's all framed. Like right now, my frame, I have the little Buddha back here and the dog. It's a frame. And a lot of what we see on social media is fake. And we don't want to see that, because it causes a lot of upset. To try and find something real is very difficult. It asks us to engage with stillness and silence and space. And so often we find ourselves resorting to the fake, the quick fix. But no, if you notice your thoughts, at least when I notice my thoughts, I see people being happier than me, or people being more engaged than I am. Or I find myself either jealous of seeing the fakeness that is being posted on social media, or I find myself angry at what's being posted on social media, or I find myself depressed on what's being posted on social media. So it takes this split second of recognition. What am I feeling when I'm engaging? Am I feeling angry? Am I feeling jealous? And what am I engaging with? Am I really engaging with the political aspect? Am I really engaging with the pandemic, or is it just a thought that I'm engaging with? And then finally, there's this thought about the self. We constantly think about ourselves in context of the pandemic, or in context of the political information, or we think of ourselves in context of whatever it is we're seeing on this screen, or on this bigger screen called life. And so it takes a split second just to take a step back. That's all meditation is asking us to do. Some people, they have very elaborate meditations where we see the chakras and we see the subtle body, but there's also more simple ways of engaging with the world, where we can just realize there's nothing to be ashamed about our shame. There's nothing to be ashamed about our jealousy. Just noticing that we're engaging with thoughts, that we are not our thoughts. These thoughts are changing. Or that we're engaging with feelings, and these are not our feelings. They're just passing by like waves. So I wanted to offer this brief contemplation on how we engage. What are we engaging with? How are we engaging? How are we relating to our own thoughts? How are we relating to our own feelings? How do we relate with the political situation, with the pandemic? Are we engaging with our heart? Or are we just engaging with this reactivity of, I don't know what to do with myself, and I'm trying to find a reference point? We're constantly seeking a reference point. Am I being liked? Am I not being liked? Am I being recognized? Am I not being recognized? Do I have something that is keeping me active and productive? And these are all thoughts that are part of the collective. But so how autonomous are we when we engage? And I'll leave the contemplation there. Thank you for watching, and I hope it may be of benefit to you.